Samantha sighed tiredly. Finally, school has dismissed. Now she can go home and sleep. She grabbed her bag and began to walk away. Then she looked around. Where could Bryan be? Samantha asked aloud. Boom, baby! Samantha jumped and breathed out a sigh of relief when she saw it was Andy. Walk in like a normal human being, Samantha grumbled. Why? Are you disappointed that it isn't your hubby Bryan? Andy smirked as he patted her hair. Fuck you, Andy, Samantha scoffed and pulled his hair away. No, Bryan would kill me if we fuck, Andy muttered, and Samantha hit her head with her palm. That's okay, you can go, Bryan said, and dragged Samantha beside him. And don't go to my house because I'm going to someone's house. Bryan said, knowing fully well that if he said he is going to Samantha's house, he wouldn't leave that place. Okay, good luck. Andy walked away, and Bryan smiled. Let's go then. Bryan began to walk away while Samantha followed suit. Why you suddenly grumpy? Samantha muttered. You wouldn't get a girlfriend if you continue to behave like that. Samantha frowned, and Bryan drew his face closer in a way that his nose were touching hers. I don't chase girls. Girls naturally come to me, Bryan smirked and continued walking while Samantha raised an eyebrow. Of course, why wouldn't girls chase after him? He is handsome and smart, Samantha thought and ran after him. Bryan opened the car door for her, and she entered. Then he entered the driver's seat and drove off. We are here, Samantha announced happily, as she came down from the car smiling happily. Now Bryan looked at her face closely. She has little Samantha's black eyes, brown hair, and Rand's skin. I must find out the truth today, Bryan thought as they entered inside the house. Bryan opened his bag and brought out his physics textbook. Bryan frowned watching Samantha as she sat down on the couch in the parlor. If we stay here and study, I don't think I would be able to find out the truth. I need to get into her room or her mum's room, Bryan thought. Bryan, what are you thinking? Samantha snapped her fingers in front of him and he raised an eyebrow. You zoned out, Samantha muttered. Can we go to your room? Bryan said, and Samantha's eyes widened. What? Go, OT, my room? Samantha asked, imagining many sceneries in her head. To study? Bryan paused. Or do you want us to do something else? Bryan smirked, walking closer to her while she moved back till her back hit the wall. Then he caged her with his arms. Do you want me to do it with you? Bryan whispered in her ears and her breath hitched. No! She quickly yelled, recollecting herself, and Bryan smirked before walking to the couch and grabbing his textbook and walking to her room. Hey! How did you know the way to my room? Samantha blocked him. Does it really matter? Bryan said with an eye roll. Bryan! Samantha paused and bit her lower lips. Are you the one that took care of me the day I was unwell? Samantha asked, and he smirked. Yes. Are you shocked? I know I was the least person you did expect to take care of you. Bryan muttered and walked inside the room. Bryan looked around the room. No photo frame of when she was small. Nothing. Let's begin, Bryan said, and began to teach her some things in physics, and when he was done with a topic, he gave her something to solve. That's wrong. Bryan pointed at number 2, 7, 5, 3, and 9. Samantha tightened her grip around her pen as she scribbled down the formula with her pen and began to solve again. I need a glass of water, Bryan muttered, and Samantha stood up and walked out of the room. I can't waste any time, Bryan thought as he walked to her little wardrobe beside her bed and opened the first drawer. Books, and diary. It was a pink diary with lock. The key was not in the wardrobe, so he opened the second wardrobe to see an album. Yes! Just what I need, Bryan thought as he opened the album. His eyes widened when he saw his little Mantha. She was holding hands with her mother, and she had mud smashed at her 2 cheeks. He opened the other page to see Samantha, when she has grown up, sitting on the couch, and her parents, including her dad, standing beside her. They were laughing happily. Samantha is my Mantha. Bryan smiled happily. He felt so happy. What are you doing? Came the voice of Samantha. And Bryan gasped, the album falling from his hand. Samantha walked to where he was standing and stretched the glass of water towards him. But his mind and heart, as a matter of fact, his whole body and soul, was not in the glass of water, but on Samantha. His Mantha has grown up so fast. Mantha, Bryan muttered, and drew her into a hug, hugging her like his life depended on it, while Samantha arched her eyebrows in confusion. "Bryan, are you okay?" Samantha asked, trying to withdraw from the hug, but rather he tightened his arms around her. "Samantha, you're Samantha Mason, right?" Bryan asked. "Yes, but how did you know?" Samantha asked with a frown. "You don't remember?" Bryan asked, and Samantha got more confused. "Remember what?" Samantha asked. "Am Ryan your Ryan?" Bryan paused, checking whether it rung a bell in her head. "Stop lying. You're not my Ryan." "No, he is not my Ryan anymore," Samantha said, and turned. "Am Bryan Quinn, you're my childhood sweetheart." Bryan hugged her again. How much he misses her. Could it be his Ryan? Yeah, it is him, because he bared the last name of my Ryan, but I would never be with him. 7 years isn't 2 years. Samantha thought and broke the hug. Immediately she did. She felt sad and wanted his warmth again. His love, but her brain is always screaming at her about what she suffered for 7 years. "Bryan, I don't know who you're talking about. I am no one's childhood sweetheart. You got the wrong person," Samantha muttered, and fast walked to the parlor. "I get that you're angry, but let me explain, please." Bryan held her hand. "Bryan, I don't know what you're talking about," Samantha lied. "Mantha, my name is not Mantha, but Samantha. You left me for 7 years, Bryan. 7 years." Samantha hit him on his chest. "Not only that, you didn't even think about me, and you started fucking all the girls in the school," Samantha said, holding in a sob. "It wasn't my fault. Let me explain, Mantha." Bryan touched her shoulders, but she shrugged it off. "Let him explain." They turned to see Samantha's mom standing in front of them. If it was before the revelation, she would have run and hugged her mom, but she is too sad to do that now. "But Mom, Sam, I know what I'm doing," her mom said, and beckoned Bryan to explain. 7 years ago, a girl gave me an orange juice. I didn't wanted to drink it because I was thinking about Mantha, so I rejected it. But when the lady left, I wanted to drink the orange juice, and I did." Bryan sighed sadly. "After that, everything was blank to me. But according to my mom, she said I consumed amnesic shellfish poisoning, ASP. It gives people long-term memory loss, and she said I almost died, but I survived it just 7 months ago." Bryan muttered. Bryan used his thumbs to clean the lonely tears that slid down her cheeks. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to leave you." Bryan touched her hair and tucked it behind her ears. Samantha hugged him as she buried her face in his chest, crying. He went through these, and she met him after 7 years, but all she could do was to yell at him. "I'm sorry," Samantha said, rubbing his cheeks with her hands as they rested their head together. "I will be right back." Her mom smiled and walked away. "Don't cry." Bryan cleaned her tears with his thumbs. "I love you."